Welcome back to another CAD/CAM tutorial. In this video, we are going to create this part using SolidWorks. So this is a SolidWorks 3D modeling exercise, and we are going to create this part here very quickly. So I'll take you through the step-by-step process to model this part using SolidWorks. Over here, we have the drawing for the part. We have all the dimensions we need, which are in millimeters. And then for the unspecified fillets, which we have over here, they have a radius of 2 millimeters. So take note of that. This is the front view of the part. This is the side view. And this is the top view of the part. So all of these are going to serve as guides so that we can model this part. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video, subscribe, and turn on post notification so that you get an alert anytime I upload a SolidWorks 3D modeling tutorial. And also please share the video to your friends as well so they can also watch it. And without further ado, let's start. We start off in the SolidWorks window. The first thing is to create a new part file. So on this new icon here, set the workbench to parts and OK. What we are going to do is that we create the sketch on the front view and then extrude using dimensions on the side view. So create a sketch on the front plane. First, we have this base rectangle of length 200 and width 10 millimeters. We use the center rectangle with the center on the origin, dimension the rectangle. I'm going to pull it down, and then we move on to the circle here. It has a diameter of 90 millimeters. And then the distance from the center of the circle to the base of this rectangle is 70 as well. And we make sure the circle is in the middle of the part. So now we use a vertical line, which is a reference line, to connect this center and then the origin. And make sure this line is vertical. And you can see the sketch is fully defined. We have a rectangle here as well of length 30 millimeters. I'll make sure that the center of the rectangle is on this origin of the circle or the center of the circle. So click on this center, hold the shift key, click on the origin or the center of the circle, make coincident. Then the length is 30 millimeters. Sketch is fully defined. Then we have a rectangle as well here. The rectangle should be tangent to the circle and should have a height of 130 from the top of the rectangle itself to the base here. So again, we need a rectangle here. We want to place this center on the origin. So click on the center, hold the shift key, and the origin of the circle, again, make coincident. Then we make sure the vertical lines are tangent to the circle. So again, click on the line, hold the shift key, click on the circle, make tangent. Then from this top here to the base is 130. Sketch is fully defined. Then we move on to the last sketch, which is the top rectangle here of length 130 and width 8 millimeters. place the center of the rectangle on this center here. We also have an O-brown feature here at an angle of 45 degrees from the vertical axis. So you come to the straight slot with the center point straight slot and the center point on the origin of the circle. Draw the O-brown feature here. Now the angle between this axis of the O-brown, which is the inclined axis, and the vertical axis here is 45. Radius of this arc is 9 millimeters. And then the distance from the center of the circle to the center point of this arc here is 35. Sketch is fully defined. Finally, we have two circles of diameters 8 inside the feature. So click on exit sketch since we are done with the sketch. And then make sure you select the sketch. Start adding material. So first, extruded boss base. I'm going to start with the base rectangle. We make sure that every extrusion we do is via the mid plane so that the block can be symmetric about a center axis. So looking at the side view, the base rectangle has a length of 90 millimeters. So come to selected contours and then click on this rectangle, mid plane and 90 millimeters. Okay. We move on to this rectangle. You can see it also has the same length of 90 millimeters. So again, drop this down, or you can just go back here, right click, edit feature, and then under selected contours, click on this rectangle as well. You can see the circle also has the same length. So add the circle, and then the O-brown feature also has the same length. So you're going to add the circle and then the O-brown feature. Okay. Then we have the middle rectangle, which has a length of 60 millimeters, and the top rectangle has a length of 80 millimeters. So now click on the sketch, extruded boss base, 60 millimeters via the mid plane, and then select this rectangle here, merge results, and OK. Again, click on the sketch, extruded boss base, and finally this rectangle under selected contours, and then via the mid plane 80 millimeters, merge results, and OK. Then we have a hole through this circle here. So the hole has a diameter of 76. So we're going to use the extruded cut on this face. So a circle in the center here of diameter 76. Then we cut throughout the block. So just set the end condition to through all. Okay. Next, we move on to these two holes. So we made a sketch for the circles. So just click on the sketch, extruded cut, and then click on these two holes or these two circles, and then we set the end condition to through or both to cut in both directions. Okay. Next, we will make a cut on this top here. So extruded cut again on this face. We draw a rectangle with the center rectangle method. And the length of the rectangle is 70, the width is 40. you're going to add fillets of radius 5. So we use a sketch fillet, set the radius to 5, and then click on these 4 corners. Okay, so exit sketch, and then we are going to cut till we get to this face. So set the end condition to up to surface, and then select this surface. Okay, we have to add a fillet of radius 10 to the top rectangle, the 4 corners, and then the base rectangle will also have fillet of radius 10 at the corners. So we'll do them at the same time. So the constant size fillet of radius 10, click on the 4 corners of the base rectangle, and then the 4 corners of the top rectangle as well. Okay. On the top rectangle, we have 4 holes of diameters 8, and it cuts through the length of the top rectangle or the top block. So the centers of the holes are placed on the centers of the fillet arcs. So we are going to do that with the hole wizard. The position on this face, and then locate the centers of the fillet arcs. A legacy hole of type simple hole, and the diameters of 8 millimeters. Set the end condition to up to next. Okay. Then on the base rectangular block, we have counterbore holes with these parameters. Again, the centers of the counterbore holes should lie on the centers of the fillet arcs. So again, with the hole wizard and the positions on this face, place the centers on the centers of these fillet arcs. You move your cursor over the fillet, and then this center will show. Again, legacy hole, but this time the type should be a counterbore hole, and the counterbore diameter 14 and the counterbore depth 4. The hole diameter should be 9 millimeters, and then through all. The depth, set it to through all. Okay. And then there's a rib here as well. So we use the rib command. I'm going to sketch on the front plane. So we sketch the diagonal of the rib, which will start from this point to this point. The distance from this tip of the rib to the end of this block is 10 millimeters. And then the vertical distance of the rib is 97. Exit sketch. Make sure the rib is pointing inside, and then the thickness of the rib is 20 millimeters. Set the thickness to both sides so that it can be symmetric, and okay. Finally, we add the unspecified fillets, which have a radius of 2 millimeters to all the edges. So fillets, constant size fillet of radius 2. Then click on all the edges with the unspecified fillets. Okay. We can change the color also. So we first change the background to plain white, and then change the color to this color here. Okay. So save the part. We're going to save it in the desktop as part 3, and okay. So yeah, that is how to create this part in SolidWorks. I hope this tutorial helped you out. If it did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and also share the video to your friends and colleagues so they can also watch it. And I'll see you in the next tutorial. Safe.